Hello and welcome to the Dugout European Preview. I'm Alexander Cruikshanks. Today I'm just joined by Ethan Barlow. Laurie couldn't make it for this one, but he made it for the main pod this week. So if you haven't seen it already, go check it out. It was a good one, talking about the weekend's action and obviously some of the midweek action. Big games in there. But now on to Europe, back for the three clubs: Celtic, uh, Rangers, and Hearts. Ethan, it's another big week for Scottish football, and for and me myself, I'm really looking forward to it. What about you?
Yeah, same. I think there's a lot of optimism around the Scottish clubs in Europe this season. All three have kind of pulled their weight so far, and they're all on course, you would say, to qualify. Still work to be done, but some tough games this week for all three teams, and hopefully they can all get positive results towards qualifying for the next stage.
Yep, we'll just dive in. First of all, We'll come to the Champions League tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Celtic host RB Leipzig of the Bundesliga. One of Celtic's toughest games, I'd say, Ethan. But you'll be hoping for a better result than the last German side you faced.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it can get any worse than that game in Dortmund. Um, Celtic obviously had that home game against Slovan Bratislava, which they won, but I think that didn't feel like it felt like Champions League, but Slovan Bratislava are no great shakes, and Celtic showed that. This feels like a top kind of Champions League team coming to town. I know they sit at the bottom end of the table with 0 points, but losses to Juventus, Liverpool, and Atletico Madrid are it's no task that you can easily see Celtic fall into. So this is going to be one of Celtic's toughest challenges of the campaign. Leipzig are second in Bundesliga. They're just 3 points behind Bayern Munich. They've got the best
Yes.
defence in the league with just 5 goals conceded. So
They
yeah,
lost for the first time in the league at the weekend there, didn't they?
yeah,
2-1
they're
to
only
Borussia Dortmund. Um,
they're only 3 losses. Sorry, I was just going to say they're only 3 losses before that was the Champions League games.
yeah, but based on that, they'll be angry. They'll be looking for to get their Champions League campaign kicked off and bounce back from the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of people have been debating over the format, whether it allows bigger teams to kind of relax going into games because they've got more time to get make that point threshold. But with Leipzig having no points, they will not be coming to Celtic Park to settle for anything but a win. With their games coming up, they've got Inter Milan away, Villa at home, Sporting at home, Sturm Graz away. So they'll see Celtic as a team they need to beat if they're going to be in the next stage. So that may allow spaces for Celtic. But as we were saying before the Dortmund game, this will be a difficult game for Celtic. There's no
Hmm.
getting away from that. Leipzig are a top European team. You Champions League regulars nowadays. Obviously, Celtic and Leipzig have got a bit of recent history. They've played each other 4 times. Celtic won that one back in 2018 when Brendan Rodgers was the manager in the Europa League. Leipzig have won the other 3 ties. But yeah, they're a team full of internationals. I think looking at their kind of recent games and their injury concerns, I think their lineup will be pretty predictable. I think they're going to have Galassi and goals. Obviously, a good goalkeeper. He's been at Leipzig for 10 years now. And then the back four, they do play like a 4-4-2. I don't know if it's quite the Ralph Ragnick gegenpressing kind of setup that Marco Rosa goes for, but the back four, it will probably be Benjamin Henriks, Willie Orban, Lucas Klosterman, and their new signing from Feyenoord, Lucharel Gertruda. And then across the midfield four is likely going to be Amadou Haidara, Arthur Vermeeren, the young Belgian signed on loan from Atletico, and then in the midfield with Christo Baumgartner and Antonio Nusa being the attacking players in behind, sorry, the quite frightening front two of Benjamin Sesko and Lewis Apenda. So
Yeah, that's a scary front. And Benjamin Sesko is one who looks to be really bursting onto the scene this season. His goal record isn't superb, but you just see the quality every time he plays. I think some of the touches, some of the athleticism that he's showing, and he's been highly touted for a while, and he'll be looking to get up there with obviously the frightening pace and finishing ability of Lewis Openda. So it's a difficult one. Marco Rosa will be looking for a better result against the Glasgow team than the last time. Obviously, he was the manager of Borussia Dortmund when Rangers triumphed over them in the Europa League run. Just like to get that in there. But yeah, it was.
well,
Uh, eh?
I was just going to say, I think he's beaten. I think he was the manager when Leipzig beat Celtic in
Oh, right.
2022. So
All right. Okay.
he has had triumphs since, but yeah, he will be looking to improve his records. You could say.
Yeah. But Leipzig. It's kind of funny that the parallels, isn't it? Coming up, you're coming up against Leipzig and Dortmund, and Rangers did that in the Europa League that season.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a frightening team. However, I like Celtic to get something here if they can defend the same as they did against a frightening attacking outfit like Atalanta, showing they showed their attacking talent at the weekend. They're dispatching the league leaders Napoli by 3 goals to 0 in their own backyard. So if Celtic can, batten down the hatches and be pragmatic like they did, defend well, it might not be a fun watch for the fans at Parkhead, but they won't care if they get the win.
yeah, definitely. I think the kind of thing you would say from the game in Bergamo against Atalanta, a great result. Looking even better, as you said, about the weekend. Um, but you would say that Celtic could maybe be a little bit better on the ball and going forward. And I think
Yeah,
maybe be playing it more.
bit more composure, I'd say.
Yeah,
Sorry,
definitely.
sorry to cut you off, but
No, no, I
I think
agree.
that there was moments where they could have, made chances, and it was kind of like, oh, we've got the ball, you know what I mean, and they fluffed their lines and gave it away a couple of times. I thought Kyogo was a bit too rash on the ball, and he was kind of erratic and kind of running about and going, "Oh, what do I do here?" And then eventually giving it away. Just calm it down and look around, look up, make sure you have time. If not, play the safe pass. Work it around. Do what you do because you've got the players. It's it's a better opposition than anything they'll face in Scotland, but they've got players that can hurt you. Um, get Nicholas Kuhn on the ball, and I think he could require a bit more composure. Like in the I nearly said Napoli in the Atalanta game. But yeah, I think there will be chances for Celtic, and like Ethan. Sorry again for jumping all over your point, but if they can calm it down and compose themselves, I think they can get something.
Yeah. As we say, as I mentioned about those front two, I think they're going to be the problems for Celtic. The kind of just physical attributes of both of them. Benjamin Sesko, almost like kind of Ibrahimovic, with his stature and his athleticism. And yeah, they're going to cause problems for the back line. How Celtic will line up, I think it will be very similar, if not the same, to their win over Aberdeen. I don't know why you would change it. I think Alex Bailly's done enough to kind of earn that first choice left back spot just
Yeah,
now.
he's really come on to a game. Really come on to
Yeah,
a game.
yeah, he kind of was inconsistent at the start, but I think he's nailed on that spot for the meantime. Obviously, Greg Taylor is just getting up and going and from his injury, and I think Austin Trusty will be in again. The reason he was in instead of Liam Scales, Brendan Rodgers said, was due to the pace, and Celtic are going to need a lot of pace for Lewis Apenda because he is one of the fastest players in Europe. So him and Dyson Maeda having a race would be quite the interesting one. But yeah, I think they are missing some key players as well. Leipzig, Xavi Simons, Xavier Slager. Castello Lakeba, who I think's been pretty good this season, and David Rom. But yeah, it'll be difficult for Celtic. There's no need to underestimate the opponent, but yeah, it'll be a
No.
good game, I think, hopefully.
See you just bringing up their injuries there, though, the depth.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like we cover that every time we're in Europe, but it's
yeah,
it's insane the amount,
yeah,
like, and these players that are coming in, you know, to to back up these guys who are injured would probably, like, no disrespect to the Scottish League, but they would walk into Celtic or Rangers or Aberdeen or and
yeah,
get grab the starting positions. So it will be difficult. In Scotland, we're under no illusion of where we are, but you know, it's that sort of mentality of we can nick something, and I think that helps with Celtic and Rangers of having that mentality of we need to win every game. Um, it helps going into these big games and
yeah,
helps with the sort of not being scared and not kind of freezing like a deer in the headlights. Although maybe you could say Celtic did that. I think that was a case of poor performance and bad tactics, but Rodgers obviously learned for that. The players learned for that, and I think that result against Atalanta, combined with their current run and the uh, thrashing at the weekend, will give them huge confidence going into this one. But they will need to work their socks off.
yeah, definitely. Um, I think a fun fact that I found out. I think Nicholas Kuhn had a brief spell as a youth player at Leipzig, so he'll be looking to do some damage to his former club. But I think that's all we've got for that game.
Yeah,
We'll give our prediction on all the games at the end. But we move into the Europa League now.
yeah. Europa League. Rangers sit on 6 points from the first three games. Though 5 games left, only require three. I think that's in theory to
Yeah,
secure a playoff spot. That's pretty much, if you get 9 points, you're through to
yeah,
the
10
playoff
points
round.
automatically guarantees. I think so. Yeah,
So yeah, but going away to Olympiacos will be tough. The atmosphere will be bouncing. And looking at this squad, there's some guys in here that has maybe slipped out your mind. Obviously, the Conference League winners, they took out Aston Villa on the way, and then defeated Fiorentina in the final. The man up top, Ayoub El Kabi, top scorer. I think he scored 11 goals, all in the knockouts of the Conference League, which is ridiculous. And he's started the Greek season quite well. 6 goals in 10 games. He's got 9 goals in 14 this season, all competitions. So he'll be one to watch out for. Chiquinho, formerly of Benfica, and just in behind the striker. Judging by what they've been playing, it looks like they'll be going maybe man for man with Rangers in a 4-2-3-1. And yeah, and one other guy I just wanted to highlight, Gelson Martins is actually at Olympiacos, and if we're talking about pace, that guy's going to be causing problems. Obviously, he had stints at Monaco and played pretty well, so he'll be one to watch out for. But Rangers, good win against Motherwell at the weekend. Uh, but for this game, I think changes should be made. I think we should. This is how I think we should line up, not necessarily my predicted lineup, but this is how I think we should line up. I think Rangers should go with Jack Butland as the obvious. Maybe come under a bit of criticism, but he still comes up in big moments, makes big saves, and I'd still take him over Liam Kelly. Jeff Day at left back will be good to deal with the pace of Martins on the right hand side. Just maybe the defending aspect, he was a bit lax, especially for the goal against Motherwell. However, I think he'll be starting right back. Should be Dujon Sterling. I don't think he's
it
wasting
won't be
playtime.
though.
Eh?
I don't think it will be though.
No, he'll start Tavernier, but Dujon Sterling should be playing. Um, I think Leon Balogun and John Suter. If Balogun's not fit, it should be John Suter and Casemiro. Um, Midfield, Raskin and Barron have been playing pretty well together recently. Go with them. I'd go with Diamandi in the 10 over Tom Lawrence, depending on if Lawrence fit or not. If he is fit, I'd still go with Diamandi. On the left, I'd go with Barami. On the right, I'd go with Rangers' best player of late, Vaslav Cherny. And up top, I would go with Hamza Agaman and just go to Cyril Dessers. The performance levels haven't been good recently, so you're, we're letting this young guy have a crack at it.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. And for people that maybe haven't watched the previous episode on the league, you did say that you would rather have Danilo, but obviously he's not in the European squad. So if Dessers has been replaced, then it's going to have to be Agamani who replaces him. But yeah, I think Rangers, this will be a difficult game.
It's
There's no
one
getting away
I think they can get something from though.
from it.
When
Definitely.
when they should be looking to get something from, I think the rest of the games are fairly difficult. Home game against San Joao would probably be looking for the 3 points. But then the last three is, Tottenham at Ibrox and then away to Nice and Man United. Nice haven't been so great in the Europa League, but you never know going away to France. So I think those three are the standout most difficult games apart from Lyon, obviously, but that's been. But yeah, those three are the most standout difficult games. So this is one of the ones where Rangers should be looking to get the 3 points. Um, and secure their spot in the next round.
Yeah, I was going to say for Celtic and Hearts, the games they're playing this week maybe aren't the games you would expect them to get much looking at it, and it wouldn't be games you would target. I think for Rangers, with as you mentioned, the Rangers have had a kind of short end of the stick when it comes to their draw, and as you said, the kind of harder games falling at the end. These games like Olympiacos away from home is one where you would be looking to pick up points. It will be a difficult game, but I think Rangers can get something. Rangers have been good in Europe this season. I know they did get beat off Lyon, but even as you said, they went terrible. And I think if Rangers play, especially with Clement changing up with players who have maybe got something to come in and prove their worth in the starting
Yeah.
11, would
Well,
be a
you saw it at the weekend, just that injection of life of guys who know their spot isn't guaranteed, no matter how bad they play, which I think has become part of the culture at Rangers, which is unfortunate. Guys are getting rewarded for playing poorly.
yeah,
Um, so I think just give these guys like Sterling and Igaman and Dio, just give them a shot, and I'm sure they'll play their socks off and show why. I think Tavernier is done. His legs are gone. Sterling is perfect. He's always been one that's been sort of utilised as a utility player. Sorry for sort of the repetition there, but utility player can play anywhere. But he's a cracking player. A lot of people forget, his physical attributes, his pace. Yeah, his pace and he's yeah, just his physical talents, and he's decent on the ball. Maybe not as good as Tav going forward, but he just brings that bit of energy. And we've spoke about in the past about how when Tav lines up against Aizen Maida and the troubles that Maida gives him. I don't know if I'm pulling this out of nowhere, but I'm pretty sure Sterling lined up against Maeda in a game in one of the old firms, and Maeda didn't get much because Sterling isn't maybe not as fast, but he's rapid and he's got the physical attributes, the defending attributes that Tavernier doesn't have, and I feel like his injection of energy into the squad would really help.
yeah. I'm sure most fullbacks will probably tell us that playing against someone who's as fast as Maeda is never easy, but the thing you need to do is get physical and get tight, and don't let him utilize his pace. Sorry, and that is what Tavernier's pretty much allowed him to do over the recent games against them. and you go up against top players like this in the Europa League, like Maeda that can kind of get that type
Fofana
of pace. Yeah, Malik Fofana. Yeah, and
again. That was dreadful to watch.
yeah, I was looking at Olympiacos' lineup from the Malmo. They beat Malmo in the last game. I think it was 1-0. And Gelson Martin's lined up on the left. So
Oh, did he?
yeah, so that would mean maybe him going up against Tavernier, which would be even probably worse than
More of a
Jesper.
reason to put Sterling in.
Yeah. And that's a thing that you need to do. You need to tweak your team to put. I know Tavernier's the captain, and he's been a great Rangers player over the last few years, well, last decade now. We're talking, but if he's coming to the end of his career and he's not producing his best football, then you need to take him out. It's not about pleasing players; it's about winning games. And Clermont is far from the pleasing players scale of that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's it for the Europa League. Rangers now on to the only undefeated Scottish side in Europe. Hearts host their biggest challenge yet. The Germans, FC Heidenheim. Two undefeated sides in the Conference League going up against each other. But yeah, Ethan, it's definitely the toughest test of their European season, and if not, their season as a whole. Um, Obviously they went to Celtic Park, but I feel like just with this added layer of European football and tension, it's probably their toughest game of the season.
Yeah, this is not going to be easy for Hearts. I think at the start of the kind of fixture when the fixtures get announced, this was kind of picked out as the kind of most difficult game, and then in the competition, you're looking at maybe a couple of teams that you would fancy to go further than FC Heidenheim, maybe Chelsea and Fiorentina. But apart from that,
Betis,
yeah, Betis, sorry. But apart from that, you're not looking at many teams going
yeah,
further.
it's not littered with quality, is it?
No, the
I don't, I
Conference
don't,
League.
I don't mean to speak so poorly of it, but when it got introduced, it was just basically seen as a extra competition for the teams that don't
Yeah,
really get to compete in Europe.
yeah, but of course it benefits teams like Hearts and it benefits the Scottish League, which is the upside of it because
Yep.
Hearts are competing in it well, and really do have a good chance to go through. This game shouldn't be seen as a must win or a game they must take points because FC Heidenheim, they're mid table in the Bundesliga. They were the upper side of the Bundesliga, got in the European places last season as a newly promoted team, which was very impressive for them. But we talk about the Bundesliga. This is bottom of the Scottish Premiership, or second bottom, sorry, the Scottish Premiership Hearts. So the comparison and quality is there.
Yeah,
And
Heidenheim
FC
are
Heidenheim win.
they're 12th right now, I think.
Yeah,
They're only 2 points outside the relegation playoffs, but um, then again, they are only 5, 6 points outside like sixth and seventh, so it's not disastrous for them. And like you said, there is a massive difference in quality between the two leagues.
yeah. But also on a good streak and a good streak in the Europe. Obviously not the best football in the Scottish Premiership. That's why they're down in second bottom. It's looked a little lot better under Neil Critchley, but um, yeah. I think there's not too many players that I could name from FC Heidenheim. A lot of their team is coming from the second division because they obviously only did get promoted the season before last. I think if I had to pick one player to watch out for, it'd be Paul Wanner, on loan from Bayern Munich. So that probably says it all. He's just 18 years of age, and I think he will probably be their standout player. But for Hearts, they can go on it without any expectations. And at home, it'll be a good home turnout at Tynecastle, and hopefully they can get a memorable result in Europe.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Heidenheim have a couple of injuries. Um, you know, Leonard Maloney, he's played 8 games in the Bundesliga and he's doubtful. He's out with a knock. And there's a couple of guys who aren't who who haven't played a lot this season because of longer term injuries. But I'd say he's the main one for them. But yeah, definitely Hearts' toughest test. But Neil Critchley's got them playing some nice stuff. You know, they've only lost once, and that was against a Kilmarnock side who right now look like they could either be world beaters or absolutely terrible. So it's not one to look too much into, I think. Um, Guys like Blair Spittle are firing, so I think it's definitely one that they should be going into with a bit of quiet confidence, but it will be their biggest challenge of this European campaign, if not the
Yeah,
season.
and I think I might correct me if I'm wrong, but it's only 6 games in the Conference League,
Yeah,
so I think Hearts only need just a point would solidify them into the next round. So even if they can sneak a point on Thursday, that would be enough to to solidify them in with half the
uh,
games to go, which would be a
and
ridiculous achievement.
even if they don't get anything, I'd say the rest of their games they
Yeah,
could get points from them because you know Cercle Bruges and Copenhagen. Obviously, we saw them in action against Kilmarnock. They didn't look fantastic, you know. I'd say Hearts, Kilmarnock looked like they could get something, so Hearts could probably get something from them. And what's the Petro Club?
Petro Cub and Copenhagen.
Yeah, Copenhagen and Petro Club. So even if Hearts don't get anything from this game, which is probably the most difficult game in their run, I'd say that the Hearts fans should be looking forward to a wee trip after January or December, whenever the Conference League games finish up. But
Yeah,
yeah,
December.
December. But yeah, positive signs for Hearts. Tough game, but it will be good and a fantastic European night. Fantastic atmosphere at Tynecastle, I'm sure. But yeah, I'd say that's it for our European preview. Go check out our Twitter at the Dugout 2024. Oh, predictions.
Yes.
Predictions. Nearly forgot. So we'll start off with. Do you want to start going backwards? We'll start with the Conference League.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll go. I'll go one each.
One each. Are you
Yeah,
back in the Jambos?
yeah.
I'm not as optimistic for them. I'm going 2-0 FC Heidenheim.
Okay. Olympiacos versus Rangers. I'm gonna go with 2-0 to Rangers.
I'm going to go with
I don't know why.
3-2. 3-2 to Rangers. Don't know
Three
why.
two to Rangers. Wow.
Yeah, I
Think
think
El
it's going to be
Cabe will get a couple.
yeah.
Okay, and Celtic versus RB Leipzig. Um, I wanted, for the Scottish teams, I want them to do well, but I just can't see anything other than the Leipzig win. I'm going to go with 3-1.
Okay. Last time for the Atalanta prediction, I went with an Atalanta win, and Celtic done better than expected. So this time, I'm going to go with a Celtic win. I'm going to go 2-1 Celtic.
Okay.
Optimistic, but we'll see.
All right. Well, yeah, we wish all the Scottish clubs to do well, get that
Yeah,
coefficient, just keep climbing, bring us back to automatic, because I'm pretty sure whoever wins the league this season will need to go through qualifiers,
yeah, you're
which
right.
is unfortunate. I think it was Czech Republic that have pulled ahead of us.
Yep.
But yeah, hope the Scottish teams keep doing well. But that's that. Yep, European preview, Twitter, at the Dugout 2024. Thanks everyone for listening. Goodbye.